Hello. So in this module, or this lesson rather, we will be reviewing down dog and a wide leg forward fold. So down dog, again, great posture. I admittedly don't really do it anymore when I'm doing my own home practices, keeping my pelvic floor in mind. But again, if you're in a community class or a public class, or you feel like it's just a posture that really benefits your body, I just want to give you some things to keep in mind as you do it. So you can see I've got 2 blocks in my hand. I'm actually going to use my blocks in my downward dog, and I'm just going to put them underneath my hands. And then again, if you're in a public yoga class, you might be finding cues to find like a wider stance between your hands and your feet. I actually find a pretty narrow stance between my hands and my feet, and I bend my knees, which is typically what you'll hear. In this position, it is very hard to like arch our backs and let our ribs flare. And that can feel good in the moment, just to get like a nice stretch in our armpits or across our chest. But when we're thinking about using this pose, if we are holding it for a longer period of time, or again, we're using it as a resting place where we need a lot of stability, finding that, pulling the heart back, the back of the rib cage up, front of the rib cage down is really important. I also have my sits bones separated here. One thing I do really like about down dog is that it's very easy for me in this position to find that sense of separating my sits bones, especially if I have a nice bend to my knees. And then if you are feeling like, oh gosh, Missy, this is really like sacrificing my hamstring stretch, I actually challenge you to consider how much you really need that hamstring stretch. And so if you do think that is an integral part of your practice and you feel the need to get a stretch there, you can probably do that in a more grounded position, like a Dandasana, a forward fold, that might allow you and your body a little bit more stability. So this is our down dog. And then similarly for a wide-legged forward fold, I'm just going to go ahead and step my feet a little bit wider than my mat. Again, you can have your hands on a block. You can bring your hands a little bit more underneath your shoulders. I like to make sure that I'm getting a really good sense of internal rotation here, so I do really like the cue to bring your toes in and your heels out as long as that feels good in your body. I have like a fair amount of flexibility, but something I want to call out is I'm not sinking into my full flexibility. Again, I'm staying at more of like a mid-range for my body because I am using this as a strengthening position, and I am finding internal rotation as I separate my sits bones. And so for me, this is not a resting posture. This is a pretty active posture. And it's not to say that you can't kind of surrender and release in this posture and let your body go. But this does provide like a nice place for some activation. And so, I recommend trying that out to see how it feels. Again, the whole foot, so the ball mound, my pinky toe side, my heel grounded into the earth. My knees are slightly bent. Again, when I slightly bend my knees, I can more easily find that activation in my internal rotators. And again, my heart is pressing up. All right, so you can just try those on in your body and see how they feel, and let me know if you have any questions.